Eyup Cock. Oh, sorry, you can't see him. Eyup Cock, welcome to the League One predictions for this weekend, where the Barnsley boys are third with a game in hand. And oh my giddy aunt, who would have funked it? Blackpool versus Barnsley up first, 12:30 on Sky. Now, last week on the predictions, I actually did okay. I got a fair few actual scores right. I called the Blackpool loss 1-0 away at Northampton, and I didn't get the actual score right, but I said that Barnsley beat Reading. Oh, and I'll tell you one thing. As of right now, me recording this, I hope this hasn't changed by the time I post it, but Steve Bruce is still the manager of Blackpool. I gave him a lot of stick when he first went, and then, you know, towards the back end of last season, they looked a proper side. I don't really know what's gone off, because they've actually spent some decent bit of money. They've brought some eighth decent players, and I think Horsfall's very good. But apart from that, they've still brought some eighth decent League One standard footballers in. And the second bottom, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I think from outside looking in, Blackpool fans disagreed with me on this, but I did think that they'd lost the two best players from last season that have both gone to Championship with Charlton. But I didn't think they'd be this crap, really. And I always look at certain teams, me as a Barnsley fan, and think, a bit sticky that one, and I'm not overly confident. Regardless of how good we are, someone like Blackpool away is not one that I'm overly confident on. And I'm also getting a lot of pelters in comments because I've not predicted Barnsley to lose yet. But I've also not predicted us to win 5 times or be third in league. So, no, but coming into this, Barnsley are undoubtedly the better side. I think we'll look very good going forward in effectively every game. Even ones where we've not played that well, we still look like we're going to score a fair few. Defence is definitely still, there's something there with Barnsley. But both teams to score is almost a given every week. And to be honest, I come here thinking the same thing. I'm not just going to write Blackpool off, even though they're second bottom and they've not started well at all. And we're obviously playing quite well. I'm not just going to sit here and think, oh, we're going to absolutely slap them. This is going to be 3-0, because it's just not going to be the case. If we win this game, it'll be a narrow one. But I still think that we will. For the opening game in League One at 12:30, I will go Blackpool 1, Barnsley 2, which would put Barnsley top of the league going into 3 o'clock kickoffs. Oof! Big game, Bolton and Wigan. Oh, I feel like Wigan have had their number in recent years. I'll just read them out to you, but I'm sure Wigan have been the better of these sides when these have played each other in past like decade. Oh god, yeah. In the last 10 times, to be fair, Bolton did beat them last time that they played at Wigan. But in the other 9 games before that, Wigan outlost. So they do come into this with really good bragging rights in this little derby. And I do think they're a defensively solid side, but I always reference my EFL reviews in case you've seen them or not. But I think Wigan at home are going to be quite a good team. Away, I don't think they pose the goal threat to really challenge at top of this division. And despite Bolton not having a good start, really, they've only lost once, but they've drawn 5 games, all one apiece. It's really not been a good start for Bolton in what I expect. But I feel like from a goal-scoring perspective, Bolton are creating a lot of chances. I do feel like it's going to be the exact same here. I expect to look at this on Monday and see every single stat is just going to lean this way. We're all going to be leaning far left. Politics. But no, I think Bolton should dominate this. I think the midfield is miles better than Wigan's. And despite Wigan being higher up in table so far, they are 8th and Bolton are 12th. I do make Bolton favourites just on the sheer number of shots that I expect them to have and the attacking talent that they've got. That winger that they've got on loan from Brighton that Sheffield United are looking at already. If in doubt, just pop one into the top corner. I just feel like they're always going to score. And I don't think it will be a high-scoring game because of what Wigan can be defensively. But I do make Bolton favourites for probably I'll go 1-0. It's quite... Have Bolton even kept a clean sheet so far? Even in the... Oh, yeah, they did against Wimbledon. I'm going to say there are a lot of draws, but it feels like they've conceded in every game, effectively. They've not conceded loads in one game, but it's just always one. But I think Bolton should win this game. The obvious factor of it being a derby is going to add some little, like, bit of fight at belly. But I'll go with Bolton 1-0. They should win that. And another 12:30 for some reason. Lincoln versus Luton. Quite a good game. Because everybody's going to look at this and think, well, these boys should win league, which they should, in fairness. Lincoln, poxy little bang average League One side. This should be a strolling part for Luton. But Lincoln have started well. They've only lost once. They've won 4 games. They've drawn 3. They're always in games, even the loss that they did have, which was to Wimbledon. Second game, the first away game of the season. Very good sides have gone to Wimbledon and lost. Let's not get it twisted. But apart from that, the games are very close. There's only been 3 games out of every comp that Lincoln have played in so far that haven't been won or drawn, obviously, by a 1-goal margin. And same with Luton, to an extent. In the games that I've watched so far, apart from the bits that I saw of the Burton one, which Luton fans were then telling me afterwards that it weren't as easy as it seemed and it was actually quite a close game. because Luton won 3-0 away at Burton, but apparently it was quite close. The games that I've seen Luton do look a little bit like they are lacking a spark, lacking a creative hub, lacking somebody who could just pick ball up and rifle one into top corner from anywhere, like Bolton have got, or like some other top sides have got. I think they're lacking that bit of magic at the minute. Against the Lincoln side that, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know I said this quite often, but in League One, there are certain teams, even if you are going to win league with 100 and some points, like Birmingham have done, our teams in past, Lincoln and some other dodgy, weird sides in this division, Leyton, Orient, previous seasons like Bristol Rovers, someone like Wycombe, you will just go there and lose. They're just so horrible. There's no point being tactically switched on going to a place like Lincoln. You've got to get levered in and do not shirk a tackle. And do I think Luton can go there and do that and play that way? Can they get rough and ready with somebody like Lincoln, who've got Sonny Bradley at back and some like Collins up front? You know what I mean? Some very experienced lads that are going to throw elbow at you and nip you and just like bite your ears, like probably try and tickle your balls on a corner or something. Do I think Luton could deal with that this early into this season, when a lot of these lads have come from Premier League season or Championship ones, where you're playing proper football? I'm not taking anything away from Lincoln here because they're a good side, but they can adapt their style, and if they want to make it horrible for you, they will. I've seen it many times when I've been there every year with Barnsley since we've got relegated, and it's just, even though we've done quite well, it's never one that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, we're going to win this game. And I feel like Luton won't win this one. I'm going to go with 1-1. Lincoln have had 3 draws so far. They've only lost once. Luton haven't yet drawn a game. It's very much like all or nothing with them. But I think they will come here and struggle to get a grip on it. I think they'll struggle to control ball as much as they have done in some of the other games. But I think Lincoln are just genuinely quite a good side, so far this season. I'll go for 1 apiece. Cardiff and Bradford, currently first versus second in the table. I don't think many people would have said that after 8 games. Obviously, like I said, Barnsley on at 12:30. So if we win our game away at Blackpool and these two draw, Barnsley will be top of the league with a game in hand. Incoming 1-0 Blackpool. This is going to be a serious game, though. Cardiff, if we look at their own form, and I do not want to take anything away from them here because they have shown so far that they are the best team in the division. Table don't lie. They've conceded 2 goals in 7 games. Both were penalties. They are very sturdy at back. Some at games at home, they have tonked 8 decent sides. But looking at the ones that they have played at home so far, you're looking at Peterborough that they bet 2-1 at first game. Relegation fodder. Rotherham 3-0. Relegation fodder. Plymouth, to be fair, Plymouth started horrendously. But Plymouth have also won the 3 games either side of that result. So it was a good one, but they took advantage of a poor side at the time. This is going to pose a much more difficult challenge for Cardiff than any of the games that they've probably played so far, especially the home ones. Obviously, they went to Stockport last week and got a point, which were really impressive late on. But the experience that Bradford come with here, and players that have played at so many different levels, a lot of experience, mixed with the odd, there's not many, but the odd little bit of youth and brightness, such as this Bobby Poynton that they've got, a Bradford lad. This is an hard game to call. I don't think it's as easy as just saying, yeah, Cardiff will win this. Because Bradford hadn't had an easy start by any means anyway. They played Luton and won away at Stockport. Bet Huddersfield last week. In Cup, they went to Blackburn, a Championship side, and won. They went to Stoke, who were second in Championship, and won 3-0. They've played a lot of sides better than Bradford so far, and come out of a lot of them with wins. They've had a very good start, they have. So do I think they will score against a side that is yet to concede from open play? I do. I do think Bradford score a goal here. But Cardiff, how good they are at home, I don't, let's not take piss, I don't think they'll lose. I don't think Cardiff are going to lose many games, if any, at home. I think they are going to be one of the real top dogs. But do I think they'll win against Bradford at home, who started very fast and are going to be high on life after the Huddersfield winning a big derby for them? I do not. I will go Cardiff 1, Bradford 1. This is definitely not biased to see Barnsley top of the league at 5 o'clock. Donny and Wimbledon. Donny started lightning, hadn't they? But they did lose 3-0 away at Wigan. I do think they're similar to Wigan in the aspect of they'll pick a lot of points up at home, a lot of wins. I think they'll be hard and sturdy to break down at their place. But away, I don't think they will have the goal tally that will be required and the points tally away that you will need when we're sat here talking about this football in May. But they are at home, and that's all that matters. Wimbledon, good side. I stand by it. They did lose 4 in a row before beating Rotherham at weekend. Good win. But again, probably same thing. I think a lot of sides are just building on solid foundations back to front, which is the right thing to do if you want to stay up, and I think that's same across every league. There's no point going and scoring 2 every game if your defence is complete dog shit. See Barnsley last year. Both of these two, I think, are doing it right, but I do back Donny in this game. It's got to be said. I think Wimbledon are a good side, but again, I don't think there'll be many sides that go to Donny and win. I think Donny, personnel-wise, have got better players than Wimbledon, and they're both set up fairly similar anyway. 2 good managers, I would say, as well. But Donny won league last season for a reason. I think they've probably kept / brought in players better to add to what was already a better team anyway. They're at home. I think Donny should win this 2-0, really. So I'll go with that. Huddersfield and Burton. Huddersfield, who are currently 6th, I have not been overly impressed with so far, especially in the games that I've actually seen and the games that mattered really, like the Barnsley one and the Bradford one. Lost them both 3-1. I think they look completely void of ideas, especially at Middle Park, and they lack certain profiles needed in them type of games when you're not just going to dominate ball start to finish. That being said, they are 6th from a very good side. Burton are 3rd bottom. They have played less games than everybody else in division, though. They're only on 6 so far. But they're lacking the goal threat, I think, at minute. The best player by a mile is Charlie Webster at middle, and they look like they've not got a great deal in front of him. But like I've said with Huddersfield a few times now, they might lose against Barnsley's and Bradford's, Cardiff's, Bolton's. But when you're playing Burton's at home, respectfully, all due respect to Burton here, because I do think they are an okay side. Seriously, I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they'll get relegated. But Huddersfield should make light work of this, just because I think tactically they can sort of get away with not being so dominant and creating loads of chances, because you've got players that are just so much better than that at Burton. You're at home. The crowd, I think it's going to be flat anyway, because, again, all due respect to Burton here, but you can only get excited for Burton at home so many times before you want to die. But Huddersfield have got miles better players than Burton, realistically. I do like Burton's manager, and I think they've got the odd player Burton that is serious quality. But Huddersfield, again, they should win this so comfortably. They have won every game in every comp since start of season, and they've scored a lot of goals on back of it. They've conceded odd few, though, to be fair. And I will give Burton 1. I will give Burton 1 because I do think Charlie Webster could just score from anywhere. He is a good player. But Huddersfield should probably put like 3 past this side. So I'll give Huddersfield the fairly comfortable win. Huddersfield 3, Burton 1. Plymouth and Peterborough? Well, Plymouth are 3 wins on bounce. And in the last 2 games, they've beaten Stockport and Luton. So the tides have turned. And this super team, I want to say it again, this super team went to their place and won. Peterborough actually won the first game of the season last week at home to Wycombe. But this is a completely different kettle of fish. Wycombe haven't got a manager with a functioning brain. Plymouth look like they have, at least. And the personnel of the two teams, I think Plymouth look better game on game. Again, defensively, they're awful. They are shit at back. And I think Peterborough, despite offering very little in any area at pitch, will score a goal here. I will give them 1. But I expect Plymouth, after scoring 3 against Luton and 4 against Stockport, 2 sides that are so much better, like regardless of the full team, specifically defensive unit and how they're structured, they are so much more compact and harder to break down than what Peterborough are. Plymouth could score 7 here. Plymouth could destroy them. They are looking marginally better, Peterborough, but I still think for the most part they're hopeless. As harsh as it is, this is what this place is. We're going to be completely honest. I'm not going to pussyfoot around it to try and keep fans on side. You're watching this for a reason. I'm telling you what I truly think. I'm speaking like a real person and not an AI. I think Plymouth will annihilate these. 4-1. Plymouth 4, Peterborough 1. Port Vale versus Mansfield. Oh, I got this one right, baby. I got this one right. I can see things. I see dead people. Port Vale are a good team. Port Vale are a good team. Stay with me now. Port Vale are a good team. I don't think Mansfield are a bad team. Just want to put that one out there as well. But Port Vale, after bringing Dave in, I just think these are going to win a lot of games in a row. I seriously do. Apart from next week, obviously, when they play Barnsley. But for this one right here, at home to Mansfield, I don't think there's too much that needs saying. It's going to be a scrappy game. But personnel at Middle at Park, Port Vale, I think, have just got the men required to control this game and really dictate it how they want to. And I think they will do that. I'm going to give them a win. I'm going to give them back-to-back wins. They went 0 for 7, so they had no wins in the first 7. They won last week 2-0 away at Exeter. And I think against the weaker sides in this division, regardless of the fact that I think Mansfield will be well safe, because I do think they are half decent, Port Vale I do think will come out on top against a lot of similar sides to them, expectation-wise. And I will go for a back-to-back in terms of results. I will give Port Vale a second 2-0 win in a row. I do really think we could be looking in a few weeks, and these are miles and miles away from danger. But I think Port Vale will win this game. They're a good side. Reading and Leyton Orient. I mean, Reading looked poor in the 9 minutes of extended highlights that I watched them against us because I didn't go to the game. Leyton Orient are just very hot and cold, I think. Defensive issues, definitely. But going forward, they are a serious threat. And I feel like the defensive issues at Reading are just crazy. I think a lot of them are wanting the manager out from the things that I'm seeing now. Even though he's a legend, I think it's almost the hardest thing ever. You're in such a strange place, aren't you? Because you want to give him more time because of what he is to Reading. It's the same as Orient at Barnsley or Wilder at Sheffield United. These people who've played for you or come from your place that have got a true sentimental meaning to your club, I think it's so hard to make a true decision on him because you've always got this like, yeah, but we're just desperate for it to work because it's him. And I think this could be final nail in coffin me because I see Leyton Orient as favourites for this game. Reading, I think, could score because they've just got that in them, haven't they? They've scored 7 in 7, so they've got a goal a game. You do the maths, baby. But defensive issues are definitely there. And I think Leyton Orient, they're not as good as Barnsley going forward, but they've still got some really talented players at top end of pitch. I'm going to give them a win for it. I'll make them 2-1 winners. So Reading 1, Leyton Orient 2. But unfortunately, I think that could be the end of Hunt at Reading. Rotherham and Stockport. Are Stockport as scary as last season? No. Let's just get that little bingo card ticked off. I don't think they're as good as last season, but in the grand scheme of things, they are still an half-decent side in this division. I just don't think he knows his best team yet, based on the players that they brought in and what they lost last season, Stockport. Rotherham, I do think are just quite poor. Not a fan of Ramshaw, in complete honesty. They did a good job to beat Exeter, but again, they were sat 10 men behind ball for the last half an hour to try and see it out 1-0 up against Exeter at home. They've lost to Wimbledon away. They've lost a lot of games so far. They are in 18th at minute, 2 wins and 4 losses. Only 6 goals scored as well. I don't think the score against Stockport. That is what I would say. I don't know when Nombe's back, to be fair. I need to check. But until he comes back, against sides that are, well, stereotypically better defensively, Stockport have conceded 12 goals so far. But I think based on last season, they were good at back. And I don't see him creating loads of chances or scoring many goals against a side that, based on last season, were quite sturdy at back. When Nombe comes back, I might have a different viewpoint on Rotherham, and I might cut him some slack and say they'll finish 20th and stay up by a cat's pube. But for this game here, Stockport at home, I mean, Stockport favourites. I think they really need to set a marker down soon because they've only won 1 in the last 5 games, Stockport. But I do think they'll win this one here. Not a lot of goals in this for me, even though Stockport have scored 13, conceded 12. But Rotherham are complete opposite end of spectrum. I will go 1-0 Stockport. Oh, wait, Rotherham. Stevenage, Exeter, yeah, I mean, again, Exeter are very hot and cold, but more recently they've just been cold. They lost to Rotherham and Port Vale. Not the best luck, really. In fact, in Exeter's last 4 games, they've played Northampton, Peterborough, Rotherham and Port Vale, and won 1, lost 3. So they've had a very favourable start, and they've done quite well in the grand scheme of things. But do I think they will come to Stevenage away, who are 4th in league, and have only played 7 games? Defensively sturdy, but they are offering quite a lot going forward, Stevenage, and compared to previous seasons. Do I think Exeter come here and get anything? No. I've got to be real, I don't. I think Stevenage run out 2-1 winners here. And I'm being kind, giving Exeter a goal, because Stevenage have only conceded 5 goals so far. But I will give Exeter 1, just based on you never know what you're going to get, truly. But I think I know what points they're going to take back, and it's 0. I'll give Stevenage a 2-1 win. And then Wycombe, Northampton. I mean, at Wycombe I did think were looking better, but then they've lost at worst team in division in Peterborough. Northampton have won 3 games in a row, to be fair. Like, I were going to come in and stereotype these as 2 poor sides, but Northampton have won 3 in a row without conceding a goal. Very good going. And if they build on that, if they come here and they're just tight at back and hard to break down, I don't really think that Dodds has got the tactical capabilities to break open a low block like Northampton could come and poise. And if they do that, if they come up and just set in 2 lines of 5 and 4, for example, and just leave 1 man up front and bring McGeehan and Hoskins up on counters, I think Northampton could nick some here. And I'm saying all 3, I'm not saying a point. I think it's almost a given that I think Wycombe are crap anyway at this point. But I think that Northampton will come here, high on life, 3 wins in a row, against a poorer side that's below them in table, and think this is going to count for a lot in May anyway if we beat these now. But also, we could beat anybody at minute. They've won 3 in a row for a reason. They won away at Leyton Orient, and they bet Exeter and Blackpool, 2 poor sides at home. So in the recent games, playing nobody of serious note, that's exactly what Wycombe are as well. There's nothing serious going on here in terms of a threat at top of division. I think you know what? I'm gonna give him a 1-0 win. Northampton. It'll be the 4th win in a row and 4th without a goal conceded. But I think they've got it in them. And I don't think Wycombe... Seriously, I just don't rate Dodds at all. I think he's one of the worst probably the worst manager in this division. I think he's awful. And tactically, I do not think he would have a clue how to break open some of the Northampton are going to come and sit in front of the net. That's that. Kiss, absolute pleasure. Make sure you like and subscribe if you do enjoy. Kiss, thank you for watching. Goodbye.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.